In any high-ranked lobby, you'll be peaked like this. And if you're closer to the angle, then you'll be peaked like this. It's fast, right? Well, there's a trick to being able to look this fast while peeking enemies. If you didn't know, the time it takes for you to go from being completely still to maximum movement speed is slower compared to you going from maximum movement speed to a dead stop. Due to this, when you plan on swinging, give yourself an extra step or two before exposing your body to the enemy. So rather starting your swing from here, try starting further from the angle, like this. You also want to make sure that you hit that subscribe button and join my Discord server for free coaching. It's free. Once you have done that, this is what your peaks should look like when you stand further. It's not much, but it is slightly faster compared to standing closer to the angle when swinging. Now, there are a bunch of names for all types of ways to peak, but I don't want you thinking too deeply about peaking just yet. Let's start with the basics. The two main purposes of peaking are to get a kill or to gather information. First, let's talk about peeking for information. You can perform the very basic way of peeking by throwing your shoulder out to an angle while swinging in and out of cover with your knife out. But the best ways to peek for information is what's known as a dapper peek or by air strafing. The easiest way is the air strafe. But once you have the movement mastered in Valorant, you could start performing a dapper peek. For this example, the way you do this is by jumping diagonally towards an angle while holding W. Then release W, press and hold A, then release A, and press and hold S. If you want to perform a dapper peek from the other direction, you do the same thing, but instead of using the A key, you would use the D key. It's simple, right? But never peek like this whenever you're one shot, meaning if you have incredibly low health, let another teammate peek for you. Also, another note to keep in mind is not to overexpose your body when going for these types of peeks. Gather your information through your minimap, not by actually seeing the enemies with your own eyes. Alright, it's time to get into peeking for the intention of getting a kill. On a basic level, you can swing close from an angle or peek far from an angle. You want to peek standing really close to an angle whenever you know an enemy is holding an angle that's fairly close to you, like this. And you want to peek far from an angle whenever the enemy is positioned at an angle that isn't as close. This is because the further you are from an enemy, the slower you appear to move. The closer you are to an enemy, the faster you appear to move. This is why pop-in swings are pretty popular. Next, you need to understand perspectives. If I'm holding this angle, which is fairly far, and an enemy decides to peek me, I'll be able to see him before he's able to see me. So before peeking, understand where the point of contact will be so you aren't shot before being able to spot the enemy. Now, let's say you want to peek and you have an idea of where the enemy is playing. Whether you absolutely know or you're making an assumption, it may be good to go for a pre-fire on the angle. Pre-firing in Valorant is different from other games since the recoil and movement is not as forgiving as other games. You want to swing out slightly, but right before you expose your entire body, you want to press and hold the opposite movement key, which is going to send you back into cover. In the split second you change directions, that is when you want to shoot, and feel free to burst up to 4 bullets at an angle. Now, in my book, this is not counter strafing, but rather a jiggle peek with an intention to kill. The reason I say this is because under no circumstances should you be standing still while performing this type of pre-firing peek. There will be a small dead zone window for you to be accurate while staying mobile. So take advantage of it, guys. But I threw a lot of information at you in this video, but I wanted to expose you to the various ways of peeking. Follow these basic rules to start learning how to master peeking in Valorant. But since I only cover this information in a very basic way, if you truly want to learn when to use these skills in your own in-game scenarios, join my Discord server where you'll get free coaching. Also, visit my live streams and I will personally show you in greater detail how you can peek like an Immortal player. But as always, thanks for watching. Till next time, guys, Duce Duce, and join my Discord and subscribe because, come on, you know you want to.